Hello, my name's Kate and I work for the business management team in the UK Delegation at NATO. Part of my job is to arrange the full logistical and bilateral programme for ministerial meetings at NATO. So I have a really interesting job arranging all the transport, accommodation and all other arrangements for the London team visiting NATO. In addition to that, I arrange the bilateral programme for the ministers, so I'm dealing with sort of very high-profile events.
My name's Alex and I am the Media and Communications Officer at the UK Delegation to NATO. It's my job to monitor media developments, to act as a liaison between the various parts of NATO and the various parts of the British government, and to act as a communications advisor to the delegation.
My name is Aislinn. I work for the UK Delegation to NATO in the capabilities team. I lead on defence planning for partners and other aspects of multinational cooperation in the capabilities world.
The thing that I find really interesting about my job is that I come from a private PLC background, and before working at NATO, all I knew about working at government level was what I read in the papers. And the interesting thing for me is that the ministers that I work with, I realise work incredibly hard, and there's a huge amount of work that goes on behind the scenes, even just to write one paper for the ministers when they're having their meetings. So the surprise for me was the huge amount of workload that goes into their day-to-day working lives. And I found this really interesting, which is a big difference to what I've read in the papers.
What's the interesting thing about working at NATO? Well, as you can imagine, we have lots of high-profile and interesting subjects that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. When we have developing crises, we obviously right in the centre of those, and that's a very worthwhile and interesting part to work on.
What's really great about working at NATO is just working in this multinational environment, lots of different personalities, and even though the negotiation process with 27 other allies can sometimes be quite a long process, it's really satisfying to get agreement on issues that I think affect all of us.
And working at NATO is fantastic because you deal with a huge amount of different cultural differences, which is really interesting, and I've met some fantastic people while I've been working here. It's a great place to work.
One of the best things about working at NATO is the interesting people that we work with. It's very, very interesting working with the military. As you can see, I'm a civilian because I'm in a suit, but the military add another depth to the working relationships, and they have a great sense of humour too. So yeah, I think that NATO is a fantastic place to work.
What's special about working for the joint delegation, joint civilian and military delegation here, is just the kind of wealth of knowledge that our military personnel have, the sort of technical expertise that is just at their fingertips, that they can share with us and help us all to do our jobs better. I really love working here in Brussels as well. It's a great city, so it's a fantastic post, really.